is this place?
Seeing Cthulhu in the title of a game will, fairly or not, stack a pile of expectations on top of it as tall as the walls of Arlier. The Cosmic Abyss does meet some of them, focusing heavily on not just the physical danger involved in immersing oneself in the mysteries of lost and cursed history, but the mental toll as well. It exceeds some too, placing the well-worn fictional mythos in a setting it doesn't often get fit into. But the limited time I had with the first couple of chapters was soaked with the sinking fear that even though its puzzles and atmosphere were brain-tickling, there weren't enough moments where the consequences of playing with this eldritch fire felt real or dangerous. In the Lord's year of 2026, you're going to have a hard time adapting H.P. Lovecraft's cosmic horror mythopoeia in a way that feels fresh, but developers Big Bad Wolf make a good effort. It follows well-worn tropes like putting players in the shoes of a detective chasing more and more bizarre clues down an interdimensional rabbit hole. But the near-future setting, in a world that clearly benefits from advanced technology but remains recognizable to denizens of our real world, spices things up in curious ways. My favorite is an optimistic take on an AI companion named Key that can actually be a general benefit to society, or at the very least towards your investigative efforts to know the unknowable.
I hope you will soon gain confidence in my results.
Cthulhu the Cosmic Abyss gives you a million chances to use it in crime scenes, which are dense with dark nooks to shed light on and stones to be turned over. Its key feature, the Vault, takes every clue that you find that could be consequential to solving the mystery and puts it in a big board, where you can move them around and draw connections between them, Charlie Day style.
Take a look at this! Jesus Christ!
Some of these clues may become a deduction, which asks a question that could be answered by another clue in order to unlock some key breakthrough to help you solve your case. These weren't common, but they were always impactful.
That's it for the Vault, Noah. I'm sure you'll find this new interface useful.
The handiest tool in Key's arsenal is the sonar. After spending energy to scan the chemical makeup of an item or material, you can then send a sonar ping out into the wild to find more objects that match that chemical. Pick up a weird rock and think it might have friends? Send a ping. Bloodstained drag marks suddenly and suspiciously end? Send a ping. You can even combine different materials, up to 4, to further narrow down a thing you might be looking for. Like if you wanted to find a specific sort of metal that is also covered in eldritch mold for some reason. It's a clever way to help nudge players along who might be stuck, but without completely blowing the answers to some of the more important puzzles along the way. Key can also be upgraded to give itself bonus abilities, like one where discovering clues has a slim chance to earn back some energy. I wasn't really moved either way about the offerings available in the 2 chapters of the demo. When I did take the time to apply these, it never required me to change the way I play, and I spent no time weighing the value between potential opportunity costs of any of the available options. This might be more consequential in the full release, but I found them to be completely ignorable here. Another way that the Cosmic Abyss stands out among its peers is that it's entirely free of combat, relying completely on the investigative and exploration aspects to provide tension and conflict. That's a pretty bold choice and puts a lot of faith in the team's ability to create bad enough vibes that walking down into dark rooms can feel like their own sort of boss fight. I'm not sure that the Cosmic Abyss crushes that every single time, though.
This will lead us to the exit.
And to Marsh.
Many of the spaces make great first impressions. In Chapter 1, you and your partner Elsa arrive in the flooded and dilapidated home of a missing agent of your mysterious organization, Anseal. The house is a mess. Floor littered with ancient artifacts, archaeological relics, notes scribbled with nonsense, and just straight up trash. The rundown walls cast just the right kinds of shadows that make it feel like touching anything might wake the monstrous building itself. This goes doubly for Chapter 2's undersea mining facility that sprawls like a metal maze of corridors covered in blood and some sort of goop that is somehow more upsetting than blood. Every wing is a new set of uncomfortably disheveled but relatively routine-looking things that lead you through a door and into a room where something obviously blasphemous went down.
The victim received massive blunt force trauma to the skull.
But it's really all sizzle that is hot when you're in the moment but cools quickly. Besides some things falling off of shelves without warning, you're never actually in danger in the haunted feeling house in the first chapter. Though the second chapter's complex heavily implies that there might be a sort of eldritch minotaur trapped in this watery labyrinth, you never really get the displeasure of having to directly encounter one. I did a lot of running around and backtracking through the expansive sea base, and besides unlocking doors to get to new rooms, the building itself remained static, not really changing based on my actions or the progression of the plot, which definitely made it feel like I was treading water while trying to solve my way to the next big moment. The other side of that coin, though, is that a lot of the solutions to the puzzles are hiding in plain sight, with the clever assessment of clues you encounter and proper use of your tools being all you really need to find the answers. It made me feel like a genius when I skipped from point A to point C in a logic path because I came to my own conclusions that let me skip point B entirely, or simply got lucky and found a vital piece of the puzzle early. It also made me feel like a real dunce when I would continually miss the solution despite very clear clues that might as well have been neon signs pointing to it. The puzzles themselves aren't tough, nothing more than pattern recognition and good old-fashioned problem solving. The Witness, this is not.
The lights. The reset must be completed.
The Cosmic Abyss does create a bit of friction by tempting players themselves into taking shortcuts at the risk of their own sanity. Corruption is introduced in Chapter 2 and racks your brain every time you come into contact with some really evil juju, limiting Key's abilities and possibly having some more adverse effects that are unclear in the scope of this demo. The miners under the sea found a mysterious altar and now they're all missing. You can follow their footsteps to see how they activated this demonic device, but participating in the same ritual that vanished the people you were down here to find seems like a terrible idea, doesn't it? Trying to find a relatively safe alternative that requires taking the deductive reasoning version of the long way seems the more sensible alternative, which meant me frustratingly spending a lot of time poking every object I could to figure out what I was missing, the lure of just trading my sanity for a quick and easy solution always hanging above me. In this limited demo, taking corruption seemed largely harmless, but as you move from chapter to chapter carrying the mental scars of your past mistakes with you, I can see how this could hang over you like a long Cthulhu-faced tentacle of Damocles.
Finally.
My biggest fear for Cthulhu the Cosmic Abyss was assuaged pretty early. This game does a great job of setting Lovecraft's well-worn mythos in a time and place that feels unique among its many, many contemporaries. It also leans into problem solving in a way maybe other games like it don't, focusing more on the finding out parts of diligent detective work than the effing around parts of attempting to gunfight a bog monster. And though the puzzles you'll encounter throughout tend to balance feeling rewarding to solve while being approachable, the tense and slow-burning pace is great for the process of discovery, but doesn't really pay off the patience with many scares or really any pushback at all from anything that isn't a puzzle. That said, I've only seen the tip of what it has to offer, so it's hard to speak to how all of these elements evolve as you get closer to the real deal monsters, and how systems like Key's upgrades and the clever sonar expand without playing more, which you will all have the chance to do when Cthulhu the Cosmic Abyss releases on April 16th. For more previews of the biggest upcoming games, don't miss our recent hands-on looks at Replaced and Pokemon Pocopia. And for everything else in the world of video games, stick with IGN.